Hi students, welcome to class 8 social science. Today we are going to study geography chapter 1 resources. Here we go. In this chapter students we are going to study different types of resources. Example, natural resources, human made resources and human as a resource. Next we will study the conservation of resources because we know the fact that resources are very limited in our nature. If we will use them without any kind of planning, they will be exhausted soon. So we need to be very careful while using the resources. And the last concept in this chapter will be the concept of sustainable development. So be alert, be ready. We are starting the chapter. Question comes in our mind when we listen the word resource is what is a resource? Students, in 8th class, we study the definition of resource up to anything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs is known as resource. But we need to be a knowledgeable person. So try to learn the new definition that will be, in use for your class 9th and 10th also. So anything that is available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, it should be technically accessible, economically feasible and culturally acceptable too, is termed as resource. For example, if we want to know the time, then watch will be a resource for us. If we are thirsty and we get some water from any source, then that source will be a resource for us. In this way, like mobile phones, laptops, computers, these all things are a resource for us. And when we classify the resources in different ways, we will found that some resources are naturally available, some resources are there which are made by human beings, and some resources are they are in the form of human beings. We as a human being also called a resource because we make the things into a resource. Things were earlier available, but it was us that who used our knowledge, technology, skills, and we turned the things into a resource. Let's see what make a thing a resource. Yes, definitely anything can be a resource for us when it is having some use for us. Its utility or usability makes a thing a resource. Some resources may have economic value and some may not have the economic values. For example, metals, jewelries which are available in the market, they may have some economic values. You can go to the market, you can just purchase few jewelries for your sister, for your mother, for your friends. You have to pay for that. It means these are the resources which gives you joy, but it is of economic value. But some things are there which do not have economic value. For example, the small plant which you just have planted few years back, right now it is a tree, and whenever you see that tree, it provides you a beautiful scenic view and you just feel very happy and satisfied. It is also satisfying your need. Whenever you want to be happy, you can just go there and sit under the tree. Beautiful scenic view which you get from the mountainous regions. That's why every times whenever there are some holidays, we just try to go to some mountainous place, hill stations. So these views may not have economic values, but these are also resource. Next point is some resources can become economically valuable with time. For example, if your mother or grandmother have some remedies, they just know a technique by which a particular disease can be cured. And whenever you find any problem at your homes, you just use or apply that thing and you becomes physically fit. Till now, it is having no economic value. But suppose if you patented that thing and you just sell that thing or treatment to a medical firm in some days, then it will have some economic value. You can charge from the medical firm. So time and technology are two important things or important factors which can change the subsistence into a resource. And definitely human beings are most important resource because they use their knowledge and skill to turn the thing into a resource. Let's see the natural resources. What are the natural resources? Resources that are drawn from the nature and used without much modification. We can use them without modification or with a little modification. These kind of resources are basically known as natural resources. For example, the air we breathe, the water that is available in our rivers and lakes, the soil on which we do agricultural activities, minerals, all these things are the examples of natural resources. Then natural resources can also be classified into different groups depending upon their level of development and use. For example, natural resources can be classified into three parts given here on the basis of origin, on the basis of stocks, and on the basis of distribution. Students, here I just want to tell you one thing. The stocks words which is given here, you can just say on the basis of exhaustibility also. Stocks and exhaustibility, both are same. Let's see in the next slides. Resources on the basis of the level of development. On the basis of the level of development, we can classify the resources on two parts. They are given here: actual resources and potential resources. Now, what are actual resources? Actual resources are basically those resources whose quantity is known to us, whose quantity and quality are known to us, and we are using them in present. For example, the dark soil of Deccan Plateau in Maharashtra. We know how much resource is available there and how we can use them. We know the technology and we are using them in present. These are known as actual resources. Potential resources, on the other hand, are those resources whose entire quantity may not be known to us, and these are not being in use at present. This is because the present level of technology that we do have today is not advanced enough to use these resources. We do not have proper appropriate technology to use these resources. We know that the resources are there, but these are the resources for future. For example, the uranium that is found in the Ladakh region is potential resource that can be used in future. We are not able to use these resources, uranium, in the present because we do not have a appropriate technology. So this will be called a potential resource. So what is the difference here? Actual resources we are using at present, but potential resources we do not use them at present because we do not have proper appropriate technology to use them. Maybe these are the resource for the future. Resources on the basis of origin. Yes, on the basis of origin, we can classify the resource on two parts: abiotic resources, number two, biotic resources. Abiotic resources are those resources which are obtained from non-living things. These are non-living resources. For example, soil, water, rocks, etc. But on the other hand, biotic resources are those resources which are obtained from the living organisms, living things. These are the living resources. For example, plants and animals. Now comes most important. That question is asked in your examinations many times. What do you understand by resources on the basis of stocks or on the basis of exhaustibility? Then we can say these resources can be classified into two parts: renewable resources and non-renewable resources. If we go by name, we will see that renewable resources are those resources which got renewed or replaced quickly, which do not exhaust after one use. For example, solar energy, soil, forest, we can use them again and again. Some of them are unlimited, yet careless use of certain renewable resources like water, soil, forest can affect their stock. Means these are the renewable resources, still we have to use them carefully, because if we will not use them properly, they can be, their stock can be exhausted. Second one, non-renewable resources. If we go by name, definitely if we use the resource once, they will be exhausted after the use, and it may take thousands of years to be renewed again. That's why we call them non-renewable resources. For example, coal, petroleum, and natural gas. And last topic for this video, resources on the basis of distribution. Yes, definitely we can have resources which are found everywhere, and there can be some resources which are found on certain regions only, at certain place. If the resources are found everywhere, then these kind of resources are known as ubiquitous resources. For example, the air we breathe, water, these are ubiquitous resources जो हर जगह मिलते हैं आपको. But there are resources which are found at certain areas, certain places. These are known as localized resources. For example, copper, minerals, iron ore, etc. And one more thing, students, the distribution of these resources is not equal on our earth. They are distributed unequally. Some typing error is there. Resources id हो गया ये, resources is होना चाहिए. So there are many factors. For example, 3 factors are given: the terrain, the climate of that region, altitudes. These are some of the reasons by which the distribution of the resources is affected. So in this particular video, we have seen what is resource, the importance, what are the things which turn the things into a resource, the classification of resource on the basis of their origin, on the basis of the status of development, and on the basis of the distribution. So rest part we will just read in the next video. Thank you to watch the video and try to understand the topic properly. Take care. Bye.